Guess who has no phone email support roles that pay up to 6 figures? I do. And laptop and home office setup is included. Let's hop right in because these jobs won't last long. But wait, we forgot to do shout outs because you all have been crushing it, landing opportunities left and right. So Carlos said, I have an interview with Carnival. We will see how it goes. Listen, Carlo, I think you're going to do great on your interview. We are so excited for you. Keep us posted because we know you're going to have good news. Let's give him some hype and tell him it's going to be great. And then one of my favorites, the Miss Peachy. We talk a lot on here, guys. She said, congrats, everyone. The magic interview question is the truth. I've landed 2 jobs using it. It really does make you stand out with the interviewer. Continued blessings. I love this cosign because she's talking about the magic wand question. That's like in my interview kit or whatever. And she's landed multiple jobs using that question. Like that question makes people remember you. So you always want to use that question in the interview. So thank you so much for letting us know that you've gotten 2 jobs using that question. And in addition to that, Miss Asha said, congrats to everyone. I was just offered a part-time position, so I'm grateful. I am hoping to land something remote in the near future. Great benefits, pay, and work-life balance. Speaking it into existence. Yes, girl, this is what we love to do. We speak it into existence. Praise him in advance for this. And this is just the type of energy that I love to see. Like, I love it when you guys are like excited about the future. You're like, I got this and I'm still excited and I'm going to keep speaking these things into existence. So congratulations on the part-time position. We don't shun small beginnings. We clap for each other. So you guys clap, give these people some congratulations. And then Jalen, another one, he said, listen, a little off topic, but I was just offered an interview with Carnival based on your previous video. I appreciate you. Congratulations to you, Jalen. That is good news. So many of you have been landing interviews with Carnival. Like, that is just amazing. So I love hearing these updates. And you landed that quickly because I just posted Carnival not long ago. And then another one from Miss Ebony. She said, you guys don't give up. I was out of the workforce for 12 years and got back in after what felt like countless rejection. It gets better. Y'all are next. This is why I have you comment, I'm next, because when you speak that into existence, it happens when you believe it. It happens when you practice gratitude. It happens when you clap for others. That's why it pays to congratulate others. That's why it pays to clap for other people and to be genuinely excited. And when you comment, when you write down the vision and you put it on plain tablets as the word tells us, those things come into fruition. So please comment down below, I'm next. All right, I'm next. Now let's get back into these opportunities. So our first bonus opportunity before we talk about the Cash App opportunities is going to be with GoFundMe. Now, we all know GoFundMe and we've probably used it or donated at some point in time. But a lot of you said, Jazzy, what do you have that is no phones? Because I'm kind of sick of phones. Okay, I've got the product support generalist role, okay, for live events. Now, essentially, this role is going to work. It's kind of like a part of the support team, okay? They're going to answer questions around how do I do something on the platform? How do I set up my account? Or maybe there might be a question related to some sort of issue that a donor is having. So down here, it talks about how you're going to answer the majority of your customer questions using Zendesk. And what that looks like when you use Zendesk is mostly like email support or ticket support. But down here, it does also say that there may be some live chat going on. So you may want to get with the recruiter and make sure you understand if it's going to be primarily email support and tickets, or if there's going to be a healthy mix of live chat in there. And as it says down here, you're going to answer questions related to how do I do something, or there could be billing inquiries that a customer or a donor might have, or that a client of GoFundMe might have. So what in the world does this job pay? Well, this job is going to pay up to $70,000 for your base salary. And what's beautiful is that you also get equity in the company. Okay, that's additional free money, aka free stock in the company, as well as benefits. Okay. There is no degree requirement. And yes, they will train you as long as you've got some sort of customer support experience. But make sure you're applying for this ASAP, because this is a super easy, lazy job, but it's not going to last long, which is why I've already done the resumes for you, and they are available inside the library for paybump.com. Okay. The next role that GoFundMe has, I like this role a lot for anybody that's worked as a teacher. Maybe you've worked in audit, maybe you've worked in compliance, but they're hiring for a risk analyst. And when I say a risk analyst, I don't mean one single risk analyst. Usually these roles are going to be for multiple team members. So it's not always just like this one role. I heard somebody say that, and I was like, sometimes a company will do mass hiring where they're hiring for like 50 different people to support different regions, right? So make sure you're considering that when you go into these roles. Like there's enough out here for everybody. But what are you going to do on the risk identity team? Well, you're going to be responsible for providing high quality email support to ensure the authenticity of fundraisers, campaign organizers, and beneficiaries, as well as analyzing fundraisers for fraud. Okay. So I love that they tell you right up front, this is going to be high quality email support. Okay. As long as you're okay with that. Some of you actually like being on the phones, but this is what this job entails. And it talks about conducting due diligence for things like KYB, which is know your bank. Okay. So if you've ever worked in any type of cash handling, if you've done any type of auditing, accounting, compliance, again, even if you kind of like worked at Walmart as a cashier, you had to get trained on KYB and KYC, which is know your customer. Another thing that you may had to have gotten trained on is like AML, which is anti-money laundering. So as long as you can have some experience with that, even if it was just a short 30-minute training, you need to be applying for this. Okay. This is the perfect risk analyst / fraud role for those of you that said, I want to get into fraud investigations, right? What does this pay, Jazzy? I am so glad that you asked me that question, because this is going to go up into the 100K salary range, okay, depending on your experience. Some of you already have banking experience. Some of you already have any type of, like this fraud experience. You have that. So it's easier for you to go in and say, hey, can you bring me in as a risk analyst 3 or as a risk analyst senior? So you can start off making closer to that 100K mark. And again, there's equity and there is also benefits. Now, if you don't have a banking background, or if you don't have like any type of money handling background, but you were, let's say, a daycare teacher. Well, daycare teachers are also involved in risk, right? In a slightly different way, because we're responsible as daycare providers. You're responsible for minimizing risk. That could be with child safety. That could be with internet safety. It could be, again, with compliance, which all falls under the risk umbrella. Okay. So even if you worked at the airport in customer service, you fall under that risk analyst sort of umbrella, simply because you're there to protect the reputation of the company. You are there to make sure that customers are staying within the safety guidelines. Okay. So you have to get very creative when you think about how your experience translates into some of these high paying roles. Now, what do we have next? Well, Ramp is a company we've talked about before. They're looking for a customer experience agent, okay, to do all your typical sort of customer experience things, which is helping people with any questions they may have. Sometimes you might have to escalate a concern that a customer has. But this is a role that actually says they want you to be able to work on the weekends. Okay. So for those of you that were kind of like, Jazzy, I'm looking for weekend work. Well, here you go. Okay. And again, this role is also email support, but there could be a little bit of live chat support involved in this as well. So this doesn't require you to have a degree or any crazy sort of experience. If you can use Zendesk, which is a ticketing system, then you would be perfect for the role. And they're going to pay between 48 to 65K. You do get the full medical, dental, and vision benefits, as well as 401k, flexible PTO, and as I've said before, a work from home stipend to set up your home office. So this is where they give you a certain amount of money for you to get anything from an office desk. Maybe you want to get a footrest. Maybe you want an office chair, but these are things that you can use to set up your office, right? Along with things like parental leave as well. So they do provide relocation support, but it's not a requirement. So if you're not wanting to move to these places, you don't have to. You can work fully remote. They're just one of those rare companies that's like, hey, if you want to move on us, we'll take care of it. Okay. Resumes have been done for this role as well. Go to paybump.com to sign up for a membership so you can get access to these resumes. Now, our next role is going to be with Zoom. Everybody has used Zoom. You probably are currently using it. They are hiring for a contact center BDR. Okay. BDR is business development rep. It's kind of like an entry level sales role. Okay. And the reason why I like this is because it's for contact center, and most of you have contact center experience. So you know from that firsthand perspective what the contact center looks like and how it operates. So essentially, you're going to be prospecting. Okay. So it says you're going to identify different enterprise accounts that would benefit from using the Zoom contact center. Okay. So essentially you might be like looking at a portfolio and you're like, oh, this customer, Microsoft, or maybe there's some sort of startup. You could say this startup is probably going to need to use a contact center for their needs, for their daily operations, right? And you would introduce them to Zoom, or you would send that prospect to someone on your sales team to say, hey, I think this is somebody we should reach out to. Okay. What are they paying? Well, 65 to about 120K is going to be that salary range. Again, that's going to be contingent on your experience. And what I love about these types of roles is that in any company you work for, when you have a sales role, they train you. So it's cool if you've got experience, but if you don't, it's not like a deal breaker. They just love high energy people and they love well organized people. Those are probably going to be the two big things in sales, and obviously not being afraid to speak to people, right? So make sure you're applying for this. Resumes are done for you, and just take note of the application close date. This is going to close on June 20th. So just be mindful of that. Now, a couple of more roles that we have are going to be for Cash App. They've got a complaints specialist. Okay. So this is going to be for people that are trying to invest on the Cash App platform. As you know, you can invest within the stocks on platform or the cryptocurrency. They've got all these different ways that you can invest. So essentially it says you're going to invest and resolve. You're going to look at high sensitivity complaints, ensuring compliance with things like FINRA and the SEC. A lot of you have worked in compliance. Some of you have told me you have your Series 7 certification. So this is a pretty good opportunity for those of you that have that sort of background. Depending on what zone you are in, this could pay you up to $47 an hour or up to $44 an hour if you're like zone B. So I love that they also give you stock in the company, and they also give you cash bonuses in the company, like performance bonuses. So make sure you're applying for this. This is with Cash App. Another position with Square, which is also under that same block umbrella that Cash App sits under, is an account manager role. Now, I wanted to point this one out because a lot of people are like, Jazzy, I need more sales roles, okay? Because sales is where the money is. Now, as you can see, this is the sales range for zone A down to zone B, easily high six figure role, no matter where you are in the country. Okay. So again, resume has been done for that as well. Now, the last role I want to kind of highlight is this Zillow role, because a lot of you have said, Jazzy, I do photography. Okay. That's all I do. What do you have for me? Well, if you go to Zillow's website and you type in photographer, you will see that they are massively hiring in several different locations. Okay. To be a photographer on their media team, right? So essentially you are paid to just go in and photograph things, right? That's literally the entire job. Okay. You're going to capture photography, and you might have to list out those different photography videos for different rental properties, or it could be homes that are for sale. So there's a lot of potential for you to get a really big name on your resume if you're someone that's getting into photography, or if you already work in photography, right? So again, apply for this. I don't know how long this is going to be open. I do know that they have several different locations that they are essentially sourcing for. I don't know what it pays. I would imagine they're going to tell you that. But what I like is the flexibility within this role, because it's 10 to 20 hours per week. And they're saying during like peak season, you would work 20 hours per week. So it's a part-time position, but they're saying there's also opportunities for full-time employment. So this is great for those of you that are wanting to have some flexibility, like maybe you want to work for Zillow, but then also do your other thing on the side. Like, this is one of those opportunities. So if you need help with your resume, come talk to me in the private community. If you sign up for Pro, that gives you access to be able to talk to me in the private community. A lot of you are asking a bunch of heavy questions, and it's so much easier when I can talk to you directly, or when I can have a career coach talk to you more directly, so we can figure out how to position you for success. And as I always say, make sure you're checking out the interview resources, especially if you're like, what's the magic wand question? Well, check out the interview resources so that we can absolutely help you in this journey. And as I always say, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. Oh,